The Common Core, from my perspective, are the standards in language arts and mathematics, kindergarten through 12th grade. So standards only, what it is that we should be teaching.
Core is a set of national standards that explicitly talks about what kids in grades K to 12 should do for should be able to do and know for ELA and math.
Demanding, the standards are, and we had, before they actually implemented them as a district, we had to kind of start making the switch. So I had to really start finding materials and lessons and strategies. I had to find them on my own because they weren't really in place with the curriculum we were using, or the manuals and materials that we had. So it affected my teaching by I had to be much more resourceful in the beginning, and I'm still understanding them. We don't all have the same students, and I know they say they're looking at their achievement, but I don't know that the tests that we give actually show achievement unless we teach the test. I don't know that it's a good indicator, and I don't have an answer of how to do that other than alternative types of testing, maybe portfolios, or kids really being. I don't think we're given the time to allow kids to really be more reflective on their own learning. So I'm not in favor of teachers being evaluated and pay increases being given when one teacher has, one special ed student in their room, and then one teacher has 9 RTI kids in their room. I'm like, I don't know if that's fair. And I think it's I've been teaching for 29 years, and it stresses me out, and I'm like, oh my God, I've been teaching for so long, and now I feel like like I'm so judged and evaluated, so it's very uncomfortable.
What most object to quite strongly is the fact that a chunk of their evaluation is now tied to how kids perform on Common Core aligned assessments. So when then there's questions, frankly, about how valid and reliable the assessments are, and when a good percentage of your own evaluation is based on a test that may or may not be valid. There's obvious reason for concern. So I think it's more they're not concerned so much with the standards themselves. They're more concerned about the way they're being implemented.
Worked under multiple sets of standards in multiple states, and the Common Core standards are the best set of standards I've ever had a chance to read, understand, and be able to implement. The standards are very challenging. They're appropriate from my perspective. They push our young people to do things that I feel they must be able to do going into the future. I'm very happy that my child would grow up in a school district that has these standards as the standards in which they will be held accountable for.
I think that kids are really able to rise to the occasion in most of the standards. I think, that they are really making kids think, most of them, but I have come across some, and don't ask me to name them specifically, that I feel aren't really appropriate. That there have been things that I've encountered that I thought, I don't really think that kids, this is developmentally appropriate for either a first grader to do or a fourth grader to do. I can't speak for second or third grade. So in one way, I think it's good that we prepare them for college, but I also, a negative thing that I see that I think is kind of building up from, and it seems like it's starting even younger, like let's make them ready for college in kindergarten, that there's a lot of pressure on kids. I think we're seeing in the high school and middle school a lot more, and I can speak personally about this, a lot more mental stress. And we're seeing more things come out like anxiety and eating disorders and peer competition. These things I'm seeing firsthand. I'm trying to look for it too in elementary school. Are we seeing that? And I think that the stress that has been put on teachers, I know that it trickles down to kids even when we try not to, but there's a lot of pressure to be so good at something. And I don't know that the standards are, saying that this is what you have to be and this is what you have to do, but I think that it is kind of the end result. There's so much pressure put on kids and teachers about how kids do on the state tests in a way that I've never seen before, and this has been since the Common Core. So although I think that we're really making kids think and we're providing really good experiences and we're asking them to really stretch themselves, I think it's causing a lot of stress on a lot of people that isn't. I'm hoping that research is done on this so that they can take a look at that.
So on the whole, if you look at the whole year, no, I don't think kids are more stressed. However, definitely around those ELA and math testing times for those 3-day windows, I think yes, I think the kids are more stressed. That frankly, some of the complexity of some of the texts that third and fourth graders and fifth graders are expected to read, it's really, really challenging. The length of the test, the fact that they're 60, 70 minutes for a third grader for 3 consecutive days. So yes, around the testing time, I would say that I have noticed kids getting more stressed.
Should be evaluated on their students' Common Core test results?
That's a tough one. I think the system right now is not working well. So do I think that the system that they're currently using should be in place? No. On the other hand, I think if I think teachers want to be accountable. I think, if you told a teacher, like, you're expected to make a year's growth with your child, I don't think that's unreasonable. And I think most, if not all, teachers would be like, sure, that's fair, but the devil is in the details. And right now, the way that's being implemented, it just doesn't really seem good for kids or good for teachers. So while I'm not against teachers being accountable for showing that kids are making progress and learning the Common Core standards, the system we're using now isn't working, and I'm not in favor of it.